comedy saga. So how did I become a comedian? The answer is that someone who feels that when I go ahead and I quote the Yerushalmi and I explain Rambam and I show from the internal evidence of the Gemara in Sanhedrin that the Gemara was well aware and believed it is possible for Mashiach to be from the deceased, and that Rambam does not deny this, just that he prefers to deal with natural things, not supernatural. And this is quite plausible and quite reasonable. So the person has decided this is comedy. Why is it comedy? Because he was taught by hateful people that the Lubavitcher Rebbe was a bad person. Why was the Lubavitcher Rebbe a bad person? Because Lubavitcher Rebbe did not learn Torah like his Rosh Hashiva, which is an absolute lie. Anybody who knows the Rebbe, who knew the Rebbe, knew that the learning of Torah was the most important thing in his life. The fact that he studied in order to earn a living, that goes according to the Rambam in Hilchos Talmud Torah, that one should earn a living in order to support oneself and not place oneself on the public trough, the Haftzedakah. When people learn in a kollel, they are violating the Rambam's words in Hilchos Talmud Torah. The reason why it's permitted, why people say it's permitted, is because there's a need for people to become B'nai Torah and Gedolei Torah, and they feel it's not enough to stay in yeshiva till your mid-20s, which is very strange. In times before, when there were Gedolei Yisrael, real Gedolei Yisrael, people would get married in their teens. The Alter Rebbe got married at 15. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe got married by his 17th birthday, around the time of his 17th birthday. People got married very, very young compared to what they do today. And they were Gedolei Torah, and by the time they were in the mid-20s, were oftentimes the rabbis of very large communities. The Alter Rebbe was a Maggid in his city in his early 20s. And many people were put in positions or had positions in their 20s. To say that you have to learn for 10 years after your marriage in order to be a Gadol B'Torah is not being honest. It's to be focused, it's to expand your knowledge, and so on and so forth. But most times it's ordinary people, not special Talmidim, ordinary people, who really would be better served to becoming Rabbeim or other types of Shimush HaKodesh, Mishamish BaKodesh, and not taking money from the public community and becoming responsible for themselves, as the Rambam himself writes, both in Hilchos Talmud Torah and Hilchos Deis. The Rebbe, while he was studying, had a Mishnayos or a Gemara in front of him all the time, and people who were with him knew that he was a higher person, often fast several times a week, and certainly kept he had the key to the mikveh in Berlin and in other places. And he was a person who was a pure soul, totally devoted to God and His Torah. He did not go to study until he was a master in the Gemara and the entire both Talmud Bavli, Talmud Yerushalmi, and all the Kabbalah. And he was just late 20s when he went to study in order to be able to go ahead and earn a living on his own, which is what it says in the Rambam in Hilchos Talmud Torah. The fact that there are many people who don't go to work and rely upon tzedakah to support them for the rest of their life. It's questionable how that's permitted. It's permitted. Obviously, so many people do it. But to say that this is the ideal, that this is without any questions, is not being truthful. The Lubavitcher Rebbe was a man who every element of Torah was important, and the Rebbe was not about to collect tzedakah. The Rebbe always worked and received a salary for his work and never stopped learning. He had responsibilities, and every second other than those responsibilities was in limud haTorah. That's how he maintained his incredible knowledge, encyclopedic knowledge of not just Shas, but Poskim, Shas, and Shabbos Tshuvos, and many, many different Svarim that he knew almost verbatim. Just obvious. You just look at the prejudice and see the Rebbe's own, when the Rebbe himself would cite sources. The Rebbe wrote letters to the public. He would cite hundreds of sources for every letter that he wrote. But I went to Litvish Yeshiva and I heard the terrible things that they said about the Rebbe, that he's not really a chassid. They're the chassidim. Why they chassidim? Because they learn more. The truth of the matter is that the Rebbe never went to regular school. The Rebbe only learned Torah. Whatever he accomplished, he did in his own free time, because it was necessary. It was necessary as the b'choir to be able to fill out certain forms and to speak to people. So he had to learn languages, because he had to represent his father dealing with many refugees who spoke different languages. And that was the reality. The reality was that he only learned Torah, and everything else he did was only in order to further his learning of Torah. But Frierdiker Rebbe had different ideas for him. He was supposed to take responsibility for Klal Yisrael, and since his Rebbe made him responsible for that, so he was worried and cared for all of Klal Yisrael. But he never stopped his limud Torah 1 second. And so all of the kinds of accusations against the Rebbe is all false. I saw miracles from this man. I saw that this was a man beyond nature. And I saw it. It was not hallucinating, not a wide-eyed, starry, person who believes anything. I saw it with my own eyes, experienced it in my lifetime. Whatever he said about me was going to happen, actually happened. Every single word that he said about me, what was going to happen to me, happened. So the reason why they consider it comedy is because I'm defending the Rebbe, that maybe the Rebbe would have been Mashiach, or still could possibly be Mashiach. I don't know. I didn't join Lubavitch to say that the Rebbe was Mashiach. Everybody knows me, knows that I'm not a Mashiachist. But I say that they're allowed to say it because the Gemara seems to say, actually says, Mashiach can be from those who died. And says it not just in one place, says in 2 places. And the Rambam, who criticizes Christianity, doesn't criticize Christianity for the belief in a second coming, because the belief that Mashiach could come from the dead is found in the Gemara. And in fact, the Gemara held, the Yerushalmi held that King David was Mashiach. So why am I a comedian? I'm a comedian because I defend people who say the Rebbe could be Mashiach. I'm a comedian because I guess because I believe that Lubavitcher Shochtim are Elachiyidin, and those people don't want to believe that Lubavitcher Shochtim are Elachiyidin. They're more Elach than you are, and you know who you are, and I know who you are, and I know who the person is that would have made me into a comedian. And you like to talk, and you have to talk very quickly, and you like to trap people with words. And that's not my style. My style is not to trap people with words. And I'm not impressed at all with anything that I've heard from you. Through the years that you were in Detroit, I was not impressed with one thing that you said. And that doesn't make me a comedian. I was chavrusis with many, many geniuses. I was the equal of theirs. And I'm not embarrassed by it. I was one of them. And I know when a person is a true Gadol Yisrael. I was zeichet to be very close to Rabbi Grubner Zatzal. I was also very close to be by Rav Chaim Shapiro, the Narol Rav, who considered me a Talmud Chaver, and I was a Talmud of Rabbi Grubner. had very little time to be able to do that. So I know who a Gadol Yisrael really is, and the person who considers me a comedian is not a Gadol Yisrael, despite whatever positions he may have. But I'm not a comedian, and the Rebbe was a tzaddik, is the leader of Klal Yisrael still, and the Shem is still being misspalled for all of us. And my only wish is that Mashiach come and we not fight. And I couldn't care less if Mashiach is a chosed, not a chosed, Lubavitcher Rebbe, this Rebbe, that Rosh Hashiva Rebbe. I don't care. Mashiach should come and should bring us a lot of golus and take away the pain and the suffering of Klal Yisrael from all of these thousands of years. And we should no longer have any conflict. I'm not interested in conflict, but I am not a comedian.